Dragonborn, wake up. It's time to go. Time to sign the decree. They're waiting for us in the Imperial Chamber.
Uh-huh.
To be honest, I feel relieved, but a little nervous, I guess. Dragonborn, what's wrong? Dragonborn... Okay. I was thinking of what you said, and I have decided to accept if he proposes. But what will we do? What's to stop them from coming after us when I dump Bobby? We'll be back to square one. But it's only speculation, Dragonborn. Quintus has sworn fealty to the Emperor, and he's in Hammerfell. But they have the new Imperial army. That's 6 legions, Dragonborn. Even if you did convince Quintus, that's 5-to-1 odds. How can we hold out against a siege? Even if Ingol and Cassius could muster 100 men, there's no way out. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. After you, Dragonborn. Uh-oh. Come on.
Two years ago, we rode into the city at the head of an army. But this army was not one of occupation. This army was not one of subjugation. No, this was an army of liberation. Liberation of an empire left buckling under the weight of poverty and recession. An empire ravished by pirates and bandits from the lawless border regions. An empire threatened by a dominion with its sights set on reclaiming this land for the Elven nations. An empire left decadent and abandoned by its predecessor. In this very room, upon this very floor, lay the crowns of this once great seat of civilization. And by legal right of combat, it was the people of this great city that placed them upon our heads. And we flourished. We became great again. We prospered and thrived. The old was replaced with the new. A new dawn, a new era, and with it, the creation of a new Imperial army to protect and serve the 6 counties of Cyrodiil and the Imperial territories. Provinces and colonies once weak, annexed and lost, were once again reclaimed, and the world trembled and knew its place. History is to be made this day, this very moment, as the county of Bruma returns to the fold. And we shall stand united as we become once again the 7 counties of Cyrodiil, to show the world our strength, our unity, and our fortitude in our wholeness. And they shall come to know of our intention to strengthen our resolve. And they shall come to know of our intention to be a global force to be reckoned with. And they shall come to know of our intention to expand our empire, as is our divine right. United under the name of the most powerful dynasty in all of Tamriel.
Countess Rigmor of Bruma, you have graced us with your presence here today to sign the noble decree. And with it, you will inherit what was set out in the White Gold Agreement, including full access to trade, a personal Imperial Legion loyal only to you, and a place at the seat of representatives here in the Imperial Chamber. By signing the decree, you forfeit your status of a free city, and by doing so revoke the corrupt, weak, and unelected international laws, and legitimize your Emperor's claim to the titles of the Meade dynasty. Do you wish to say anything before you sign?
Only that I would like to thank the Emperor for this opportunity, and thank all the noble houses for their openness and kindness since I arrived, and that you all can be assured of the House of Bruma's loyalty and support.
Lord Chancellor, please proceed.
Approach the table and sign, my lady. The houses of Cyrodiil are united. Long live the Emperor!
Could I please have everyone's attention? I have an important announcement to make. As many of you might know, Countess Rigmor and I have been acquainted this past year. And I cannot think of any better occasion to tell her of my undying love for her, and to humbly ask her something that's been a long time overdue. Rigmor, it would be my greatest honor if you would become my wife.
Oh, the gods, Bobby.
Will you marry me?
Yes! Yes, of course!
Bravo, bravo. And might I say, very impressive. Oh, I think you do. Morag Sethi is sucker-punched by a master stroke of genius? Guardian and protector of Countess Rigmor of Bruma. Indeed, a title you should be very proud of. Meet me in the temple gardens tomorrow morning before the coronation. There are some things I would like to discuss.
Thank you, Guardian. If you have a moment. I found out what's been going on. Last night I discovered a ventilation shaft behind the wall. The shafts are connected. Every room has them. And each one has an access panel behind the banners. When Father was asleep, I inched my way in and managed to maneuver myself within earshot of Coral's room. Morag Sethi was there, discussing the fate of Bruma. For whatever reason, she wants to even the balance of power. My father commands the largest army in Cyrodiil, and has Anvil in his pocket. Anvil has access to Quintus Vitalis and his army. You know of him? Well, the plan was to set Rigmor up for a fall after she signed the decree. Mercenaries were to be paid to raid the counties of Coral and Shadenhall, and the blame was to be put on Bruma for not taking prompt and appropriate action to stop it. They were then to call a meeting at the seat of representatives in the Imperial Chamber, and call for a vote of no confidence in the House of Bruma, which would then be dissolved. Coral and Shadenhall were to march into Bruma County, take control, and divide it up between them. Shadenhall was to get the iron ore deposits and the mines. Coral was to get control of the city, and with it the title of Duke of the counties of Coral and Bruma. He would demand 1,000 men, and together they would reset the balance of power in Cyrodiil. Rigmor's family are considered commoners. With Morag's persuasion, the Emperor would turn a blind eye just to appease the nobility. Exactly. But I don't think the Emperor knows about the plot. Once the coronation is over, I intend to inform my father of Morag Sethius and her possible motives. He'll know what to do. She's always been there. Many years ago, we were based in the Colovian Highlands. My father was the local bandit chieftain, and Sethius arrived with 200 men. They had parley, and we were to join them. Morag was already with Sethius. He never went anywhere without her. Over the coming years, Sethius banded together all the bandit chiefs in the border regions. We became unstoppable. Even before Titus Meade II mysteriously disappeared. On very rare occasions, Morag would disappear. No one knew where, but she always came back looking younger than she left. Something she has maintained to do to this day. Leading to rumors. But Sethius didn't want to usurp the Imperial throne. Neither did my father, but Morag Sethius insisted. She has some sort of power over him, Guardian. You would think with what she has already, she'd be happy with that. But she seems to thrive on causing dissent, scheming, or sowing seeds of discord. Anyway, none of that matters now. Bruma will have the support of not only the House of Leowen, but Anvil, Skingrad, and Breville, plus Quintus' Western Army. So my work is done here, and I have you to thank for it. But I would love to be a fly on the wall later, if you catch my drift. But beware of Blackwell. He's taken a keen interest in you since you arrived. Please, call me Bobby. I bid you good night. Take good care of Rigmor for me. After the coronation tomorrow, we can plan our wedding and set things in motion.
Of course, Guardian. Thank you all for your support, and I bid you all good night. I feel sick to my stomach, if you must know. What did Bobby want? But why? Is that what all this is about? This is the reason why we're here, and not what we thought? Well, it seemed pretty real to me. Morag storming off, and I noticed Coral and Shadenhall left pretty quickly too. We are in the heart of the Imperial Palace, Dragonborn. These people don't do play acting to such a huge scale. There's gotta be something in what Bobby said. It's like they pick up on things, anything, and use it to mess with your head. What did he say? Unless he knows, right? He knows about me, and they were going to make a move after the signing. So maybe he's assumed you put Bobby up to the proposal. There's no love lost for the Lord Chancellor, Dragonborn. He might not even know about the plot between Morag, Coral, and Shadenhall. If what Bobby says is true, why would Morag want to balance the power? The only thing I can think of is that she might fear Leowyn. After all, he has the strongest force, right? What? I didn't do anything. Of course. He has the support of Anvil, Breville, Skingrad, and Quintus' army in the west. By the gods, Bobby doesn't want me. He wants Bruma. If I marry him, he becomes Count by default. What? Okay, so Morag stormed out, not because of any plot she had with Coral and Shadenhall was subverted, but because the balance of power has just become weighed in favor of the Count of Leowyn, and he wants the Imperial crown for himself? You know what? All this bullshit makes me want to go knocking on the Emperor's door and saying to him, "Hey, asshole, I've got a real royal bloodline that goes back to the first Mede dynasty, so go bite me." You know, it's like a kind of violence. What they say and do, how they can instill fear into someone with just words. Makes you feel sick to the stomach with fear and worry. Like rats caught in a trap. What about it? You're not seriously thinking about crawling around in that thing eavesdropping, are you? What about me? Dragonborn! Hey, I would love that. Oh, har har. You really are something. You know that? Whatever.
You're going to have to tread carefully. Who knows? With the Leowyn boy marrying that common strumpet, the real nobility in this land could be squeezed out completely. I don't trust any of them. Least of all, Morag Cepheus.
We shall have to wait and see, my dear. After all, now that the Count of Anvil's daughter has agreed to marry our son, Leowyn's influence will diminish and ours will grow. Also, with Anvil's family ties to Skingrad, the West will become much more secure. Quintus's army sits on the border of Hammerfell as we speak, and comes under Anvil's jurisdiction.
What of Cheydinhal in all this?
The Count of Cheydinhal doesn't like what's happening one little bit. He cannot imagine why Bruma would relent and sign the decree unless there's something more sinister going on. It's madness to sign. Bruma was perfectly within its right to remain a free city under international law.
Why would the Countess change her mind now? All she had to do is buff Cepheus off. I would have sent Blackwell packing with an arrow up his arse and reached out to us in Cheydinhal.
She could have reached out to all the provinces. Cepheus would not have dared touch her. It does make you wonder the reasons behind the Leowin boy's interest in her, though. To think we almost had it in the bag.
Well, my boy. I would have never thought you would have made such a proposal in front of everyone.
Father, when are you going to come to terms with the fact that I love Rigmor? Why is it such an issue?
I had hoped you would marry into nobility. And I don't want to disrespect your Rigmor. She's a great girl. But she's hard work, Bobby. You even said it yourself. She has constant mood swings. She's argumentative. She has baggage. Look, she's not even a native of Cyrodiil.
That's where you're wrong, and I won't hear of it. She was born in Cyrodiil to respected parents.
You're just a young fool blinded by love. She's a Nordling, a barbarian. Just because a dog is born in a stable, it doesn't make it a horse. And your Rigmor is no thoroughbred. By marrying into imperial nobility, that would make something of you one day, my boy. It would command respect, give you an army to conquer new regions, territories, even provinces. Instead of counting icicles on that mountain with her guardian breathing down your neck. The county is worthless and full of Nords. Love doesn't create empires, boy. Those are made by blood and guts on your sword. Even though your intentions are sincere with Rigmor, and marrying this girl will indeed help our cause to strengthen our position here in the province, slightly, you still have a lot to learn.
Lady Rigmor is going to be my wife, and I will hear no more of it.
Ah, Blackwell, enter.
My lord, you summoned me.
You had better have something good for me, Blackwell. Who is she? What is she doing here? More to the point, how did she manage to surface out of thin air and become such a problem?
Is my lady present? I'm sure she would like to hear.
She will be back shortly. She needed to visit her father. Please continue.
Little is known from the time she met the Countess. Apart from the New Order incursion into Skyrim, very little is noted or recorded in manuscript. What we do know is she was hired to protect her from the New Order, a breakaway sect native to Alinor that tried to overthrow the Isle and invade Cyrodiil.
What did the New Order want with her?
The girl disappeared for years until she resurfaced at the Battle of Whiterun. She was linked to a Khajiit emissary who frequented the Imperial Court and had the ear of the Council of Elders. It was all kept very quiet, a matter for the Council and heads of state. I was not privy to these proceedings, and instead I was asked to take care of the affairs of the province, a job I continued to do after the disappearance of the Emperor until...
Please go on, Lord Chancellor.
After the New Order were crushed, the Thalmor made good their time in Cyrodiil, erasing all evidence. After the events, Titus Mead II bestowed upon the girl the noble title of Bruma County. As for her and her guardian, the two parted ways, and shortly after the Emperor disappeared. That's all we know. After the Thalmor were expelled when the nobility signed the recent White Gold Agreement, my attempts to recover any information led nowhere. The trail went cold.
I don't like it, Blackwell. She was only meant to sign the document. Do you think she is complicit in a possible plot with Leowin?
The balance of power here in Cyrodiil is constantly changing. At first it was prudent to have friends loyal to you, such as Leowin, to hold the upper hand among the counties. Your position relies on fealty, and although there is no evidence of subterfuge, there is a rivalry between them, and it has now become so very obvious. The announcement of the marriage between Bruma and Leowin has only added to the suspicions of their rivals.
I can understand that, but the Countess of Bruma... Why would an emperor bestow such a noble title on a wretched Nord girl? Why would he do that? What is so special about her?
I'll tell you why she is so special. So special to have at her side the most dangerous killer in all of Tamriel. Of course, it is now all so obvious. It all fits in. The ripples in the fabric of the void. How she hid her truths. She has been hiding it for years, afraid for her very life. Cursed by her blood from the day she was born. A product of a liaison that produced a royal bastard. Her veins coursing with the royal blood of the dynasty we usurped. And her guardian, a half-beast dragon slayer, champion of Boethia and defeater of Alduin. She is a pretender by default. And I want her. And I want them both, Lord Chancellor.
We would need evidence before we could touch her. A confession, or someone to testify.
I'll make the girl confess, even if I have to do it myself. And as for her guardian... Aren't you meant to be protecting your beloved Rigmor, Dragonborn?